Commander. The Commander is a trait that the captain can start with. Now, I need to add that the captain can start here, as that usually is listed under acquisition. Commanders give a large amount of command, which is helpful for ship combat in particular. It is a defensive ability that has no cap. It provides a point of standard, a standard die each point of command for defense and some other things. Secondary skill intimidate, tertiary skill tactics. But mostly we're going to be interested in the command. Talents, it can come with a this aura of command. It's just a command save. Command saves are not super important in my opinion, but it's nice to have one. Other level 1 talents are Steady Hands. Steady Hands is one of the best defensive talents in the game for ship combat, because it's giving you a solid 20% defense, which isn't quite as much as evasive maneuvers, but it's close. It does last the same duration as evasive maneuvers, that is 3 turns, but also wipes out any crippling effects on your crew. Finally, it restores however much your command skill is. That's how much morale 10 of your crew members that need it get. So this is helpful when you've already taken a beating from Lord of Sin. He's commenting. You can see the chat over here. He'll get to see a funny delay as his own comments are reflected on the screen. It'll be funny. The Steady Hands is nice when you've taken a beating and you have some some crew crippling effects on your vessel. That sounds really confusing. When your crew has some crippling effects, such as aftershocks, which is a particularly bad one, or radiation watch. It'll also give you command skill with a morale of 10 crew. That's kind of handy even when you don't need it, because it can top your people off. You just finished at a spice hall, maybe everyone's at 80 morale. Well, this can actually push you up above that, so you can be higher as a consequence of your Steady Hands, I guess. So this is good because it further boosts your defense, so you're not getting hit anymore, and removes those effects. Doing those 2 actions in 1 action is great. We'll move on to Discerning Glance. This is one of the recruiting talents. The improved attributes that your new crew will have is very important if your crew or crew going to be used in crew combat. If they're not in crew combat, it is less important. Another perk that it gives you is you discover a hidden trait on that recruit. That can be very valuable, and it can also discover quickly, oh, this person is a snob. Yeah, snob is a trait that you can have. I fire everyone that is a snob as soon as I discover it. I would recommend you do the same. So yeah, Discerning Glance is the only level 1 or rank 1 of these talents. All these talents work identically. They're in the category of recruit, but they're all very valuable to have for crew combat recruits. Loyalty Rousing. This is really good if you destroy indie ships. This, in the aftermath of a ship battle, gave an inspiring speech which causes up to 10 crew to gain 10 plus command save and morale. Again, this will only apply to crew members that need it. Although I swear I've seen more than 10 crew. Maybe I'm mistaken. Anyway, the amount of morale they gain is important because after you destroy an indie ship, and not just destroy it in ship combat, but after you've disabled it and destroyed it and it's defenseless, your crew will lose 100 morale spread across them in some fashion. This can easily more than compensate for that, and so I like to pretend it's you explaining to your crew that murdering those poor indies wasn't the problem, because they're not actually human. They're not actually people. They're just indies. It's okay to murder indies. Anyway, it works really well after that. It can also help after a legitimately hard battle that you're not just killing indies at the end, and you need to have some morale so you don't hit desertion. So this is one of the most important talents as well. Between Loyalty Rousing and Steady Hands, it's a hard choice at first level picks if you're doing a commander captain. Rallying Aura I haven't used almost at all because it is a crew combat ability. I'm going to skip over it as I haven't used commanders in crew combat a whole lot. Commanders are not great in crew combat unless they are hybrid with other more fighter-focused jobs. Quell Mutiny. This is one of the... Most of the mutiny talents are identical. They will help you deal... They'll resolve a mutiny in your favor. You get a little morale bonus. They have a long cooldown. This is all but one of the mutiny talents restores 10 plus the skill in question morale for the entire crew. There's one that is 20 plus. I don't remember which one it is. We'll probably come to it later. So Quell Mutiny, I don't use it because I don't have mutinies. If you're running into mutinies, this might be worthwhile. Can't comment on it more than that. Marked Order is a crew combat skill. Again, the knife up here, I'm not going to speak to that much. Inspiring Squadron, this is a small craft talent. Again, I don't have a lot to say here. I don't pick the rank 5 ones very often. The rank 1 options are so great. Don't need to. Rank 8 is Crew Combat, a way to remove debuffs across the entire team. Does that apply to the entire team? There's no way. See, I haven't even used this one. We're going to skip this one. That's wasting your time. Shrewd Dealings, however, is pretty fancy. There are only a couple talents I'm aware of that do this. When you accept a mission, the other one's if money exchanges hands, this trait pops, or this talent triggers. And this one requires a high charisma to make much use of. Because add your charisma and command together, give you a % chance to discover one of your contact's hidden traits. I believe this will not go on its long 18 weeks cooldown unless it succeeds. So accepting a bunch of missions is a pretty reliable way to get a new contact as long as your charisma isn't terrible. And learning your contact hidden traits can be really valuable for figuring out, gaining access to some high-level recruits they might offer you and other perks that they can give you that are only available once they're discovered. That can be quite handy. Lord of Sin is saying, don't knock commanders. They can handle crew combat in addition to ship combat. Yes, but their skills that they come with out of the box do not help in crew combat except for tactics, and that only adds a little critical. I mean, that's 9 tactics at level 30 at rank 32. That would give them 9% critical chance and 4 standard dice, 9 divided by 2, grounded down. 4 standard dice and ranged attack defense, assuming they're not using stealth, which they probably won't be. So not a huge bonus there. So they'd need the skills from other jobs. At which point they'd be able to use pretty exotic crew combat talents. I just haven't used them, and so I don't want to be wasting people's time recommending this or that when I haven't experimented with it myself. Precision Action's quite strong. It'll deal with both crew and ship crippling effects. There are 2 general categories of crippling effects, ship and crew. Being able to remove both of them is good because many talents only deal with one of them. I prefer a doctor talent that does the same thing as this, but adds some morale as well. But if you don't have that, or you don't have any other talents that remove both kinds of effects, this is pretty handy. Scorn looks really powerful for reducing initiative and deflection. That's a lot of deflection. But again, across 2 targets. But again, I don't do crew combat with commanders, so I can't really speak to that. Coordinated Fire, however, this is a great way to end a battle quickly once you've started to get an advantage on your foe, and you don't want to burn a whole bunch of talents just keeping your defenses boosted with evasive maneuvers again and again and again. You can end it very quickly by boosting your damage 35% and 25% added critical for 3 turns. The way that ship combat works, there's some sort of a calculation that hasn't been exposed by the developers yet, because it's extremely complicated, that when a ship takes more damage in a single turn, it harms the components and crew more than if that same amount of damage were spread evenly over several turns. So doing 1,000 damage in 1 turn is far worse for the crew and ship components than 1,000 damage spread over 4 turns of 250, 250, 250, 250. I imagine that means the crew are somehow able to adapt to small amounts of damage repeatedly. They're able to patch things up in between the turns or something. But anyway, that's how it works. And so boosting your damage and critical all in 1 turn, and then for the next 3 turns be able to hit them hard, that is really powerful. Now the Gunner has similar talent at rank 11 that adds 25% accuracy and 35% damage. That's useful if you're not quite able to hit your target reliably, or you need to be able to compensate for the foe's defenses. This is more for when you already have them on the ropes and you need to finish them off rapidly, or you want to because you fear running out of your defensive talents for the next